So it was super scary, but, like, I feel
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
you know, you don't really live life until you do something you're super nervous to do. Yeah.
What's up, everybody? We're back. This podcast episode, it's taken 31 episodes to finally make this happen. I think it might, at this point in time, it might be easier for me to get Morgan Wallen on this podcast than it was to get one of my best friends to come sit down and have a conversation with me. So, Colton Mosley, welcome back to Deepish.
Thank you.
It should clarify, you have been on an
Yeah, I
episode.
was on, yeah,
You came on,
end of February.
and yeah, for our March Madness episode that we did, our little one-off sports episode that I wanted to do with you and our other friend Josh Hill. So welcome back. Thank you for taking time to come on.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Do you remember the first time we met?
Kinda.
Sorta. Okay. I think this was the first time we met. If I remember correctly, I don't remember if I was leading a small group or in a small group. I don't remember. Maybe I was leading it with your cousin, Jordan. And it was right after you all moved here, which did you all move here in 22?
21.
End of 21, middle
Yeah,
of 21, something like
September.
that. Okay. So it would have been like that fall. And I knew you were moving here. Hadn't met you yet. Whatever. We're sitting at a coffee shop in Nashville. And like your cousin, he and I were really good friends at the time. And he had told me some stuff about you, whatnot. And you all grew up like, you're basically brothers.
Yeah.
And so he told me about you, told me you were moving here, whatnot. And we're sitting at this coffee shop. We're talking and whatnot. And I think one of the first things I ever said to you is I looked at you and go, "Are you a landscaper? You look like you own a landscaping company."
Yeah.
Do you
That's
remember
true.
that?
Yep.
And you and Jordan started laughing. I was like, "Is that offensive?" I was like, "What did I like?" It's not rare for me to say something like a little offensive accidentally. And Colton and Jordan's like, "Did I tell you that?" I was like, "I don't know why." And he's like, that's what he's done his whole life. His dad owns a landscaping company.
Yeah.
Which wasn't at the time. That was kind of your goal when you moved up here. You wanted to get
I mean,
into that world.
Kind of always, definitely moving up here, trying to figure life out. And, when you move to a new state, you sell the house, quit all the jobs.
Yep.
On a whim, just move up here. And, that's always been, something I've always wanted to do. And, have my own business, a lot of my family owns businesses, and just always been kind of something I always wanted to do and be a part of. So yeah.
Dude, that's so. I was thinking about that when we decided to record today. Also, my microphone is the tallest thing I've ever felt in my life.
Was that at Honest or was that?
It was at Honest. Yeah, was that we were at L&L.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like I literally think it was like the first week you moved here, maybe.
Probably.
Because I just remember you literally looked like you were going to landscape that day.
Yeah, probably.
But what was I going to say? What made you all move up here initially? Because like when you all were because you all were still down in.
Yeah, we were in Alabama.
Yeah.
So when Jordan moved here,
were you still in Fairhope?
Yeah, we lived in
right outside.
We were in my hometown, Loxley.
That's right,
Right
Loxley.
before we moved. I lived in Fairhope for just a little bit, but born and raised in Loxley.
Mm-hmm.
Gabby's born and raised in Rosington, where the first Buc-ee's outside Texas was actually open.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It was madness.
I like Buc-ee's, but I also like me well enough to know when I'm on a trip, I don't want to stop somewhere that I want to get in and out of where I'm going.
Yeah, see, I'm about it.
But like
I love it.
The other thing I don't like about it, when I'm on a road trip, my favorite drink to get, Code Red Mountain Dew, and they don't have Code Red Mountain Dew. I don't know why.
Surely now.
Last time I stopped there, which like the other side of why I don't like stopping there is because the two closest to us, like the two that are on the way of where I would go, are both too close here for me to want to stop.
Yeah, I mean that's real. Because usually when we go, like I pass the one.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we'll pass the one in Athens. Sometimes we'll stop.
Mm-hmm.
But then going north, went to Indiana a couple
couple
months ago or weeks ago.
It's like 45 minutes outside.
Yeah, and it's like not worth.
I mean, I guess it's a little further than
Like,
that,
you
but
just,
still, that
like,
one is insane to get in and out of too.
yeah, I mean, so, like, when we go home, visit family or whatever, we'll we're only 10 minutes away from going
Mhm.
back home, so we'll just swing in there and
That's like
fuel up and
that's what
get all
Sheetz
the
was like
snacks.
for us.
Yeah.
Sheetz was like that. When Sheetz first opened, because we got a Sheetz in our hometown.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know, I was in high school. Dude, we used to go there on Sunday nights and get food. Their food was, dude, some schwings.
Yeah, I've never been to a Sheetz.
Are you for real?
There isn't any in the South that I know of,
I don't know where the closest one is.
or, south of
Which, like,
Tennessee.
it's not like a rest stop. Like, like, you've got, like, your Pilots and Flying J and all that stuff, which is like
Yeah.
rest stops with restaurants. Sheetz isn't that. It is really still just a gas station that happens to have a food counter.
Yeah.
Anyways, I interrupted you. You are still living in
Yeah,
in South Alabama.
we were back home,
Mhm.
and
And you had a good job at the time.
yeah, I had a
Both
great
of you
job. Worked
did.
at a chemical plant, making really good money for my
Mhm.
age. Like, and Gabby, she had a great job as well. Then Jordan moved here in 15, and
Mhm.
then we'd come up 2, 3, 4 times a year, and it just kind
Mhm.
of we started coming up more and more often. And then it was right during COVID. We'd been coming up for 5 years at that point. We got pregnant with our first child. We had a miscarriage.
Mhm.
Decent way in, and after that, and then obviously COVID hit, and then it was just a whole ordeal. And I just said, like, I talked to Gabby. I was like, what do you think about moving to Nashville? And
Mhm.
she's like, we can talk about it. Like, she's like, I don't think it's a bad idea. Just
Mhm.
try it. And I was like, yeah. I said, I just don't want to be in my 50s and be like, what would have happened if we would have moved to Nashville?
Yep.
We didn't, it was just me and her. Yeah, we had great jobs, very stable. We owned a house. And it was kind of one of those things. It was like, if we're gonna try something like that, like, right now is the time to do
Yeah.
it.
Because you
So
were still what, early to mid 20s, mid 20s, I guess, at the time.
yeah, I mean, in
Yeah.
2020, I was 25.
Yeah.
Or 24, going into 25, and
Mhm.
we ultimately decided to move. Early 21. So we kind of made that. We made most of that first half of the year just like saving up, planning all the things, and then yeah, we just made a decision and
Was it was
quit
it
our
h-
jobs and
was it
sold the
hard for you all
house.
to leave? Because, like, both of your families are still there.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
all
other
of your,
than
like,
Jordan,
like, your other than
obviously
your cousin
my
and
aunt
your aunt
now,
now lives here.
and
Yeah.
other than that, like, we have no family up here.
Mhm.
So it was definitely hard, but like I said, it was just like one of those things. It's like we had been coming up for so long, at
Yep.
that point, 5.5, 6 years,
Mhm.
and we had very good friends that we're still friends with now, up here, at the time. I mean, at that point, like, we had more friends,
Mhm.
than we had at home,
Mhm.
here. So it was that kind of made it a little easier to, navigate. And obviously Jordan being here and
Yeah.
Bethany, and so it was super scary, but like I feel
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
you know, you don't really live life until you do something you're super nervous to do.
Yeah, when I feel like
Um,
even since you've lived here, you've kind of made it not your life mission necessarily, but, like, you've made yourself comfortable doing things that were uncomfortable,
oh yeah, I mean,
you know?
it's that was the kind of the first step, and it's like we moved to a state we've never lived in before,
Mhm.
6.5, 7 hours away, never lived outside of my county that I grew up in.
Mhm. And you
Um,
grew up in, like, small town Alabama too.
yeah, I mean, it's Baldwin County, there's the beaches,
Mhm.
Mobile's right there,
Shout out
Pensacola.
Floribama.
Yep, shout out
I
Alabama.
just listened to Kenny's Floribama song earlier,
Oh yeah.
and I just was like, and I know you're gonna be there in, like, 2 weeks. I was like, "Dude,
Mhm.
we need to go to
Yeah,
Floribama." We
it's
could
a
we could leave and be at the Floribama before 2 a.m. They'll still be
for
open.
sure. Yeah, I mean, it's Baldwin County is a great place to
Mhm.
live. It
But
was one of those things,
it's
it's
such a
like,
different, like, culture and environment than living
yeah.
here.
Oh, for it's polar opposites in here, but it's one of those things. It's like you grow up somewhere and you're just used to it. It's like,
Mhm.
your friends, you have your friends home, your friends you went to school with, and you just kind of grow apart. Some of those friends, just life happens and
Mhm.
careers and stuff like that. And, it's just one of those things. It's like, when we started coming to Nashville, like I didn't see a lot of my close friends like venturing out like that. We would come up to Nashville and it's just like a whole new world.
Yep.
Because you're
It
from
really
small
is.
town Alabama, and it's like you come up here and there's like so many things to do. So, a lot of things we used to do coming up here multiple times a year, like we never do now.
Yep.
'Cause we
Oh,
live
yeah,
here.
because you
So
live
like,
here. It's so
yeah,
different,
like
yeah.
we would go to Broadway, like
Yeah, so
Broadway's
everyone's
just
like, "Do you
not.
wanna go to Broadway?" And I'm like, "No, let's go to Music Row."
Yeah, or
You just all the things you
let's
do
go
in
to
your tours, and
Midtown.
you live here.
Let's
Let's
just
go to
go.
Midtown.
Yeah, let's go to Losers.
We're gonna go to Losers, and we're gonna go to Red Door 9 out of
Yeah,
10 times more often than we're gonna go to Broadway.
yeah. So it's like and I can name on 5 fingers how many times like growing up there
Yep.
post high school.
Mhm.
Like, we would, like, go to the beach and, like, just
Oh, for
hang out,
sure.
It's like now it's like we go home, it's like we enjoy it more,
Yep.
I appreciate it more, just seeing all the different all the
Mhm.
different things, what different parts of the country have to offer, and it's we really enjoy going back home.
Mhm.
The drive sucks, so we'll fly every now and then, but it's just
Yeah,
easier
it's
when you have
it's
a truck.
it's right at that timeline, like, that time frame of where it's, like, it's close enough to drive, but it's far enough that it gets annoying.
Oh, yeah, well, especially, you're straight down I-65
The
south, and it's
whole way.
pine trees and
Nothing.
gas stations.
Dude, literally,
Yeah, it's
it
not
is one of my
fun.
favorite drives to make. No, granted, I never go all the way down. I mean, because that's the way we go when we go down to
Yeah.
Florida. But even like once you get off 65 right past Montgomery,
Oh,
dude,
there's nothing.
it's literally
Yeah.
farmland. It's like Florida
Mhm.
farmland.
Yeah.
Or it's like Alabama and Florida farmland. It's it. But you made it. You bring up something interesting though. You talk about when all the people you grew up with, and then when you all moved here. I just had this conversation with my brother-in-law, Tori's younger brother, the other day, because he's kind of in that stage of life where he's getting ready to start med school, and his friends that he grew up with, that he's been best friends with in high school, they're some of them are getting married, and so like life is shifting. And I told him, I was like, you're at that stage in life when you're in your early 20s where like I still talk to like my childhood best friend. We were born 5 days apart. Today's is actually like when we're recording this is his birthday. I just texted him earlier today because we were born 5 days apart. And so like we stay in touch because we've been friends since
Yeah.
we were born.
Right, it's
Like
what
our
you do,
moms
yeah.
were pregnant at the same time that we went to the same church. But like all that being said is like there's not a lot of people that I grew up with that I was best friends with in elementary, middle, high school, whatever, that were my closest friends that I still hold relationships with.
Yeah.
So I said to my brother, I was like, when you hit you'll end up making more your lifelong friends when you get into your early mid-20s
Yeah.
and you start like you get married, you have a family, you start having kids, then because like life changes
Yeah.
and it's I don't know like that is sometimes like a hard concept to swallow because you make friends with people when you're growing up. You're like, we're
Yeah.
always gonna be friends, we're always gonna be boys, like,
Yeah.
but then like when you become an adult, though, like you end up having different values a little bit.
Oh, yeah, well, it's that, and you kinda your high school friends, to an extent, like, a lot of them were just that, like, they were just high
Yep.
school friends, you were close to in that season of life,
Mhm.
but, I mean, obviously, I still have, my boys that I've
Yeah.
talked to almost every day of the week,
Mhm.
just group chat or, like, whatever, I still have those guys I can call on whenever,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah,
and there's
you do
yeah,
carry a
you still
couple,
yeah,
but,
and
like
then you still care about, and, like, some of the, close friends that you were really close with in high
Mhm.
school, it's like you still care about those people and, like,
Yep.
you just kinda grow apart, like, go
Mhm.
different ways, do
Yep.
different things, and, like, you just as life goes on, at the end of the day, it's like when you have like, if you're good enough friends, like, you'll make it work, if
Yep,
not, like,
right.
it's fine, like, still
Yep.
friends with them on Facebook or,
Yeah,
keep up with them.
you'll keep up with people, but, like,
Yeah.
the people you really end up like, once you get, like, our age, like, we're both in our early 30s now. Our wives are in their early 30s, we both have boys, like, you and I have more in common now than most of the people we grew up with,
Yeah.
and that's, like, what led, I think, to a lot of what, like, our friendship and us getting close. 'Cause, like, I don't even it was one of the things I don't remember if you and I were talking about it or Tori and I were recently, but I'm like, I don't even remember when we got as close as we are. It was just like one day we just were.
Yeah.
And then we just were like then we just were together
Yeah.
all the
Just
time.
in,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? And I feel like that's kinda how friendship happens a lot of times in your 30s
Yeah.
or in your, like, adult life.
Yeah,
It's
when
like
yeah.
you're with someone all the time, and all of a sudden, like, you end up having a lot in common, you hang out a lot, and you're just like, "Wow, that's" then you wake up one day, you're like, "That's one of my best friends." I'm like, Well, I don't know. We're just close, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And but it again is like one of those things that when you get older, it's just life shifts and you end up, because like you think back to like you talk, like you all we're looking around, you're like, okay, most of the people we grew up with, not they're like to their necessarily their fault or anything, but they're not people who are going to leave what they've known.
Yeah.
They're going to stay where they are because life
Yeah,
is
and
sort of
some do, and
comfortable.
then, some
Mhm.
don't, and that's totally fine, it's like
Yep.
people that, stayed home and, like, they're raising families, like, and they're great people,
Yep.
and it's,
They just
like,
didn't have a
that's
desire to
great.
branch out of where they were.
Yeah, and, just
Yeah.
having the opportunity to, like, to come up here and, like, experience different things, experience different, you know, different lifestyles, things like that,
Mhm.
it really changes the way the way you look at things,
Mhm.
not saying, like, we would never, like, move back home,
For
like
sure.
I said, like, we still love it when we go back
Yeah.
home, like,
It's a
it's
little different.
home.
It's a little different. Like, I enjoy going home from the standpoint of being around our families.
Yeah.
But, like, going back to West Virginia, I'm like, we were never going to be Tori and I were never gonna be the ones who stayed in the hometown we grew up in.
Yeah.
Like, we were talking about that recently, Tori and I were. And we really were talking about, like, this podcast and what I'm doing with it and, the opportunities that I've had come about and stuff like that. I'm like, and the artists been able to have on and people coming up that are coming on, I'm like, and you even think about like the world you're in right now with your company,
Yeah.
which we'll get into some of that. Like we
Yeah.
won't get into specifics, but like those are not circles and pathways that we're going to
No,
come across
no.
in South Alabama or in Huntington, West Virginia. And so
Yeah.
it's like, but like to some people, that's not the world they want to live in. Some
Yeah.
people want to live like, I'm like, I know what's funny about that is like now I have moved to the country and live on land and and like everybody jokes towards like you left West Virginia to get away from this. And I'm like, yeah, but it's completely different. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not the that I wanted to be away from the quiet or the simple. It's that I wanted to be in
Well,
a place where the opportunity
yeah, well,
exists.
you want best of both worlds,
Yeah,
it's like
right.
we're looking for land, looking for somewhere to build, like,
Yeah.
it's like you just like you can have best of both worlds here.
Mhm.
It's
Oh,
like
for sure. Like,
in
and
West
again, the
Virginia, it's like,
opportunity,
okay,
dude.
like, you can have all the land you want, but it's like
But like what the
the
opportunity doesn't
opportunities.
exist there.
Yeah.
And it's not, I'm not I don't mean that to like
No.
demonize the people that stay there. It's just
No,
like
and
that was
that's
not in the cards for us.
yeah, like I just, with me and Gabby, it's like, we just wanted to, try something new, just live a little more life,
Yep.
just kind of figure our own path, we
Yeah.
didn't know what that looked like.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, it's never a shot on the people that, stayed home or like,
Yeah.
didn't venture out, but we just want to be a little more risky with it.
Oh, absolutely.
I truly feel
Our
like
risk appetite is very high.
yeah, I mean, I truly feel like to grow to like your full potential and whatever that looks like, you have to get outside your comfort zone
Mhm.
every time. And
Mhm.
it's like if you want to reach that next step and whatever it is, like whether
Yep.
you're, in business or, at a job or like whatever,
Yeah.
like you've got to do things you're uncomfortable doing,
Mhm.
'cause like I would have never made it here if I was like,
100%.
oh,
Because
I'd
dude,
rather
you
just
were
stay home and,
for your
you know.
age, you were raking it in.
Yeah, I
You were
mean, I
doing
was
great. And
yeah,
like
I
you also
mean,
still had no kids, so your life was more flexible
yeah,
and
I mean, we had we bought a house pre-COVID and like, yeah, the
mhm.
mortgage was nothing, it's a
Nothing.
great neighborhood
Beautiful.
and, you know, very comfortable lifestyle,
Mhm.
like making money most 23, 24-year-olds, probably should make,
Mhm.
and it's like I left all that.
Yep.
Like I did that,
I had a
it
mentor
was
when I was in ministry still. I mean, this was when I was a student pastor, and he used to tell me that faith is taking a step and trusting that God's gonna put the ground under your foot. And I think that's exactly what you're talking
oh
about.
yeah.
Is like I mean, you can define it different ways, whether you call it faith, whether you call it risk, whatever. But I mean, that embodies what you're saying is like at some point in time, like if you want to find success and if you want to I think grow and become better, like at some point in time, you have to just take a step when the ground isn't there and trust that it's gonna be there by the
Yeah,
time
it's
your
gonna be
foot comes
something.
down,
Yeah.
you know? I mean, and I think like well, I don't wanna get into the business stuff yet because I do wanna talk about like that. But I wanna go back to you mentioned earlier, you all have 2 boys now who I mean, they are like my family. God, I love like, it's funny because like, your youngest, Rhodes, for the longest time, would not go to anybody but me.
Mhm.
I mean, for whatever reason, he would like we'd be somewhere together and everybody'd be like, Rhodes, come see me. He'd be like, nope, and he'd come straight to me and we just chill.
Yep.
And you all came over 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we just both of our lives have been so crazy between just life. We all hadn't gotten to hang out in a while, and I looked at your oldest Saint. I was like, Saint, I've missed you, buddy. And he goes, I have missed you also. And I'm like, oh my God. But
Needs some
you mentioned that you all had a miscarriage, or early on. It was early on in your marriage, wasn't it?
Yeah,
hadn't
I
been
mean,
married
it
long.
was about a year in.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little maybe about a year in. Yeah.
What was that? I mean, so you're in your early 20s, you're early into marriage, and you go through one of the hardest things that in marriage you can go through.
Yeah, I mean, it was the worst, it was the worst season of life like me and Gabby's been through, that far.
Because it was late, like you mentioned, like it was late in the pregnancy too.
Yeah, I mean, it was, about a little close to midway there, so like the bump was there, like all the things, and it just, it just wasn't. It was awful.
Yeah.
And I think something like that, like I genuinely don't think like we would be in Nashville if that didn't happen. Because it's like when something like that happens, it's like changes your outlook on everything.
Yeah.
Right. It's like I don't want to. Like, I don't want to have any regrets. It's like if there's something you want to do, like just do it. Who cares? Just obviously think through it, but like,
yeah,
just it just changed your outlook on everything.
What was the? I don't know that healing process is the right way to put it, but like, what was the? So like from the like the dad husband's perspective, what was it like for you to watch Gabby go through that, and for you to go through that as well?
Yeah, I mean, it was about as bad as it can get, when you go through something like that. Especially like, I mean, I'm, not taking anything away from like miscarriages that happen like really early on.
Yeah, for sure.
Like they're all terrible, very emotionally, challenging and, but when you have, you're like, you get to the point where you're like starting to, come up with names and, like things like that, and then like something like that happens, like as a father, especially like young, it's like I've never been a dad before. So it's like, I don't, you just don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I was just there for her and, just trying to, honestly just worked and like just tried to keep my head down and, just keep it pushing, cause it's like, it's just not fun.
I can't imagine.
I
had my friend John Mullins on a couple episodes ago and we talked about this because they had a miscarriage. Like 2021, I think is when it was. So not long after Euros. And when they went through it, they didn't know they could have kids.
Yeah.
And they found out that not only was she pregnant, but she had miscarried like at the same time. And he mentioned that after that, they got pregnant with their now oldest daughter. He told me the timeline. I can't remember the timeline specifically, but how much the miscarriage lived in his head the whole time. They were going through
I mean,
pregnancy or that second pregnancy, next pregnancy, second pregnancy.
Yeah, I mean, it's in your head, anytime, like, we have two healthy healthy boys now, but like obviously like throughout both of those, it's like you always have like this just constant reminder in your head. It's like, like what if, like what if, like during the pregnancies, so it's like it's very stressful, especially going through that. Cause like, growing up or like, just being never going through something like that, you're like, oh, that could never happen to me. Or like,
oh,
like
for sure. You don't realize,
you just don't.
How common it is.
Yeah. Oh, it's super common.
When you're growing up, like you maybe hear about it once in a while, but you don't really know anything about it. And then you become an adult and you realize like it happens to a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah. It's terrible. I mean, it happens to, a lot of, cause like once you go through it and like you start sharing your experiences with people, they're like, oh yeah, we had one too. And it's like, never would have known.
Yeah.
It's like you just, the more people you meet, the more like, and the more often it is.
Yeah. Right.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, you definitely, the two pregnancies after that, with St. Rose, it's like it's constantly something in the back of your head. It's like, they ask if you want to do all the all the pre-tests and things like the blood tests and things.
Yeah, right.
Early on, it's like yes, absolutely,
Absolutely, yeah.
like
You're
whatever
just
we
like
have to
that
do
that
to
fear of like just making sure to your ability that everything you can control, you're
yeah,
controlling. Because
yeah,
so
because
much of it
as
is out of your control, especially
well,
as like
yeah,
as
and
the
as
dad.
yeah, well,
Oh
as
my
men,
gosh.
like just naturally, like we want to fix things,
Yep.
you know, and some things like that, you
Dude, it's
there's
I
nothing you
can't
can do,
imagine. What I mean, I remember like you know what it, on some level, like we didn't know each other yet, but when we had Roman, like his birth was traumatic for Tori.
Yeah.
And he comes out and I will never forget, I don't think as long as I live. He comes out after 40 hours of labor. They do an emergency C-section to get him out. And he comes out and he's like stunned, like, because he'd been in the birth canal at this point in time for like 3 or 4 hours,
Mhm.
like all that. And I just remember Tori's laying on the table in the OR, and all she's saying, she's like, cry, buddy, cry, buddy. And like, I mean, so all that to say, then when we have Harvey, it's not an emergency C-section. Like it ended up being like unplanned in the sense of like it was 4 days before because we end up at the hospital. They're like, yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. I'm like, sick, let's do it. But like in the back of my head, sitting there and you're just like, and like he's not really crying a lot. And you're just
Mhm.
like, there's nothing like the fear of when your baby gets
Oh
here, when
yeah.
something traumatic has happened, and then you're just like holding your breath. And
Yeah.
like which Harvey just like when Tori had him, like he had just like swallowed just a massive amount of food when he
Yeah.
came out. And so like that's like he was fine. He didn't have to go to the NICU or anything, but like Roman did. But I remember that. It's like
Oh yeah.
totally different than going through miscarriage, where it's
Yeah.
like still that like
Still,
that
yeah.
that time, that experience you had like lives in your brain, and you're
Oh
just like,
yeah.
and there's no, and dude, and in that situation, not a thing you can do about it.
No, there's nothing you can do.
What when you all finally had Saint, what was there a feeling of relief in the sense of that you finally were able to live out that, I guess, dream in a sense of being parents that you were robbed of before that?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, relieving, and like I said, we did all the tests,
Mhm.
all the things leading up to it, and it's like, and Saint he ended up coming, I think he was 10 days early.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean,
He's an
that
absolute
was
stud.
I
God, I
mean,
love that kid so much.
outside of Rhodes, I mean, that was it was, one of easily one of the best days of my life. Like no question, just like the first time,
Mhm.
like, she had emergency C-section, she went in and then she tried to labor a little bit, then his heart rate started dropping. So they had to do emergency C-section. I was like, I didn't know what was going on. I was freaking out. I'm like, I don't know what's
Dude,
going on.
yep.
So like, all right, we gotta go. And I was like, okay, so
And then they take her back, and then you go sit in your
yeah,
room
and
and
you're there,
wait.
she's back there for 20 minutes getting
Oh,
prepped,
dude.
and you're
Yeah.
just like freaking out,
Yep.
never been through it, never
Mhm.
not knowing what to expect,
Yep.
and yeah, it was just wild.
What do you think at this stage? Saints will be 5. Saint will be 5 this year, right?
Before.
That's right. He was born in 22. Sorry,
Yeah.
he'll be 4 this year. So you at this age, you've 3.5 years into being a dad. What's been your favorite part for you so far of that experience of having a boy, having 2 boys, but like having sons?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if I had to pick like a favorite thing is, just those, working long days,
Mm-hmm.
coming home on days that he's in a good mood. And,
That's
coming
real.
home and like
Yeah.
he just, he's like, Daddy, and he runs up
Yeah.
to you and hugs you and
Mm-hmm.
like it just makes the worst days
Mm-hmm.
go away, stuff like that. I would say, that and like Rhodes, he's compared to Saint, he likes me a lot more
Mm-hmm.
at this age than Saint did.
Mm-hmm.
Saint was, definitely a mama's boy and still
Saint was
is.
Saint was attached to Gabs.
But Rhodes, he'll when I get home, like he's right where I'm at.
Yeah,
Like he's walking straight up to me, big smile on his face. There's just nothing like it.
dude,
You
there's
know,
not.
it's definitely fun. 2 boys and yeah,
And
they're a blast.
you're getting to the stage. I remember telling another friend of ours a couple years ago, because he's got a son 2.5 years younger, 3 years younger than Rome. And I told him, because his son was getting to that like 3, 4, 5 age. I'm like, dude, you're getting to this stage with him. Like, just wait, where he's going to ask you to go do the things you love to do because he wants to do that with you.
Yeah.
And dude, that is one of the best stages of parenting.
Oh yeah.
When you hit that stage where your kid's old enough to where like they love what you love, and so they want to go do that with you.
Yeah.
And like our buddy Matt, he's there now where it's like his son's like, Dad, let's go do this. And they get in like, dude, getting to do stuff that you enjoy with your boys. And like it's because like the reality is like, dude, when your kids are like the first year is brutal.
Oh yeah.
They eat, they sleep, they cry.
Yeah.
And they need to be held all the time. And it's fun. Like I don't say that to like throw that season of life away, but it's like when they get older, then they like and they want to like do stuff with you.
Dude. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean it's just fun, especially being in the season we're in, just over the past few years, you think about things differently, you think about like stuff you did, in your childhood and like, the experiences Saints had, the stuff I experienced when he did. Like we sat in the box at a Titans game, and it's like I've never done that. And it's like being able to like take him and do things like that.
Oh,
the pictures, the memories. It's like I want to give him a childhood I didn't have. Not saying like my parent. It's just like I've been blessed with like opportunities to like do things like that. Just things that that. Yeah, I mean, without being here, like, probably wouldn't have.
Exactly what you mean, dude.
To circle back.
Well, it's like Roman's first concert. Like, the first concert we took him to was the Jonas Brothers. And so, like, but not only, like, so we take him to Jonas Brothers. We have tickets with Lexus Lounge access. So we go in, and everything he wants is free. Like, I mean, dude, it's just like,
oh, yeah, candy wall, all the things.
Dude, and he has no idea, like, no concept. Like, I was talking with my parents about this the other day. Because like our family vacation now is bougie as all get out. Like we're very fortunate, like that my dad, my grandfather, like take us all of us on vacation, and like what our trips are like. And when I was 8, we had like just started going to the beach, and I was telling Roman recently because like there was this, we were having this discussion, and this is like champagne first world problems, but it's like, can we shrink the size of house we get a little bit, and people the young kids, whatever, they share rooms to have a smaller house to make something more affordable, whatever, this and that. And Roman was saying something. I looked at him. I was like, I need you to understand something, dude. First of all, like when I was your age, like we didn't go on a family vacation until I was 5.
Yeah.
And we went to a beach house. We stayed at a beach house in Myrtle Beach. It was a 2-bedroom house with 10 people in it. I shared a living room with my 2 sisters and our family friends, their 3 daughters. And I like slept on a couch or something.
Like couch or something.
Yeah. Like there was no pool. There was like none of that existed, dude. And so I'm like, that was, 20 something years ago. But I'm like, the like life you live on vacation where like you show up anywhere and you're like, Grandpa, I want, and Dad's like, all right, sick, sounds good, let's go do it. Or you want a toy, you want ice cream, you want all, I'm like, and so, but like to your point though, getting to experience those things with your kids, and like where it's like their first time is also your first time.
Yeah.
Dude. It's that's not to take away from like the life either. I mean, you and I both grew up very blessed, and we got to do cool stuff. But like at this stage in life now, of like, what Roman's new thing right now is? He asked me when he can go to Losers with us. He's like, dude, he's like, well, he thinks it's like a restaurant.
Yeah.
And so he's like, Dad, when do I get to go to Losers with you and Uncle Colton? And I'm like, you got a little bit. He's like, what do they have to eat? I'm like,
food's good.
Dude, their food's great. I'm like, they have really good chicken tenders. They got great wings. I'm like, they're like literally all their food's awesome. He's like, I think I'm gonna go there and get the chicken tenders. I'm like, okay, dude. But it's like, I've told people this before, but I'm like, whatever cool opportunities this podcast affords me to have.
Yeah.
I'm taking Roman with me.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're the same way with your boys.
Yeah. It's like, you want to give your children the childhood, either you didn't have or, whatever. I saw a quote the other day, or I don't know if it's a quote or somebody just said it on a video, but they were like, your parents are living life for the first time too.
I said that.
And I was like, dang.
I said that.
You said that?
I said
I
that.
didn't see you say that. It was
We've
somebody
had
else.
this conversation.
It was somebody else that said it.
I've said that.
I didn't know you said that, but
I said that, dude. It was literally a video. From
it was
this
a woman,
podcast.
so it might have been you, but it was definitely a woman.
My hair is blonde right now, so it's
it was
very
definitely
possible.
a woman. But yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Well, they stole it from me. So whoever said that,
This was like last year, but yeah,
I need credit for that statement.
sure.
But no, I did. We've talked about that though. Like
Yeah,
that. It's just this hot take culture, which I love hot takes. You know that, but is this sentiment of like, I think crucifying at times parents for what they do wrong when you're an adult. But it's like the reality is, as parents now, we get it. You are living life as a parent for the first time.
yeah, and you look at it. You look at it for like like our parents or like whatever, and it's like it kind of changes perspective because it's like we think our parents, it's like, okay, they got it all together, like they've done all this,
Oh
they've
yeah,
done a lot of stuff, but it's like at the end of the day, it's like they're literally living life too.
yeah.
Like
when I don't know if your parents were like this or not, but like my parents, they protected us from knowing when we struggled.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
Like if things were tight financially, we didn't know.
yeah,
We never went without anything we wanted.
yeah,
Within reason.
yeah,
Like it wasn't like, Daddy, I want a horse. Okay, sick. Let me find a way to buy you.
yeah.
What? Not that
Yeah.
life, but like,
Yeah.
but like needs or things that like made sense that we wanted. Like I remember like wanting a shotgun to go hunting with my dad, and my parents, like, the way I remember the story, I think this is probably not correct, but it's like they made a deal. It's like, if you score 20 points in a basketball game, we'll get you a shotgun. And then for Christmas, I got a shotgun. So it's like,
Yeah.
but all that to be said is like, your kid has no concept of any, like Roman understands that things cost money because he's old enough now, but doesn't have the understanding of the sacrifice it takes to afford
Yeah.
what costs money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think of like in this scope of this conversation, like what you're saying of like living life for the first time is like, a couple years ago, the three of us went to the beach for my birthday, just the three of us. And it costs so much money to do it.
Oh yeah.
And like, so we were trying to go again this week, and I don't think it's going to work out for my birthday. And so I was like, told Roman, I was like, I think we're going to go to the fall with Uncle Colton on Gabs, like go with the boys and have fun. But like, it's cost a lot of money to do it. So like all that stuff. But as a parent, like you just find ways to make it work. And then your kids they just don't always understand that like the sacrifice it takes to get there until they get to adults. And then you look back, you're like, dang, like my parents did so much to make XYZ work.
Oh yeah.
And it just adds so much perspective to that point again of like that your parents are also living life for the first time.
Yeah. But yeah, it's wild. It's a wild concept, but yeah.
Oh, dude, it really is. And like these are things too that you can't grasp or fully understand until you have kids. And then it's like, oh wow, yep, now I get it. Now you understand the sacrifice. And even like you think, to your point, is like where I work from home, so like my life is different. Like you're out at a job site, 10, 12 hours a day. And so then it's like, and you're doing that to build a business to provide for your family. And like, so like your boys at this stage don't understand like the sacrifice you're putting out there or doing, making happen to build what you're building, to give them what they have.
Yeah.
And then some days, like, with that being said though, do you struggle with dad guilt?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, to an extent for sure. Because like sometimes like on the weekends, like, I have to work, and it's just like things you just have to do, to keep it rolling, keep the vision, moving forward, so it's like, same.
Are you sure that's the vision?
That's the vision.
Do you have the vision?
You're so stupid.
Sorry,
but
that's
yeah,
an inside joke.
I
had to say it. No.
Yeah, it's like on the weekends, like if I got to work for, on Saturday or like got to go look at some jobs on
Mhm.
Sunday, because like Sundays, I try to be off on the weekends, but like, it just has been so like you got to do what you got to do. Like sometimes our weeks are just absolutely slammed during the week. So
Mhm.
it's like I have to go look at jobs on Sunday afternoons,
Mhm.
so it's like I may have 2 or 3, a week on Sundays. And it's like, so he's like, where are you going? I'm like, well, I'm going to work. And he's like, you always go to work. And I'm like, I know,
Dude, yeah, that sucks.
it's like awful,
Dude, that statement, oh
but,
my gosh.
but, I get to drop them off, pick them up for school,
Mhm.
multiple days a week, so like doing that, obviously the mornings are kind of tough sometimes, but,
Yeah, mornings are
picking them up
brutal.
after school and, and all that. I try to live it in the moment, like
Mhm.
obviously there's days where I'm just beat, we're
Mhm.
outside working all day, just sweating, half time I'm dehydrated, and it's just like I get home and I'm like, I don't want to go outside,
Yep.
like, and do anything.
Yep.
Like I want to take a shower. We're gonna hang out in the house.
I wanna sit
You're
in the
gonna
air
play in the living
conditioner.
room.
Yep.
I'm gonna watch you play.
Yep. I'm gonna sit on the couch
And
whenever
every
I'm ready.
time, like, I'll ask him to play with. I'll ask him to play.
Mhm.
Whatever he's doing, or if and every I made a pretty good effort. Trying to like anytime he asks me to do anything,
Mhm.
I just try to say yes.
Mhm.
Because you always see you see like the reels and like the
Yep.
the TikToks and stuff like, like older dads,
Yep.
in their 50s, 60s, and some in their 40s are like, the biggest things they want back is those
Mhm.
times,
Yep.
when their kids are, kids,
Yep.
so I try to never be like, even when I'm like just absolutely beat,
Mhm.
like if Saint asked me to do something, like
Yep.
chances are I'm gonna do it.
Yep. And it's
We're gonna
hard.
play and I'm exhausted.
Yep.
He asked me to give him a bath, like, I'm gonna give him a bath, but I'm
Mhm.
exhausted. Like, I
Mhm.
just wanted to sleep. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, this is only temporary,
Yep.
So it's like, grind it out, enjoy
Dude,
it,
it's and that's the hard
you
part
know?
with that too. I think you and I have probably talked about this before. And I know I told this story on this podcast, but there's a video of it's like an English podcast or radio show or something, and they're reading this story that was sent in by somebody, and I've seen it multiple different variations, but it was like husband and wife are driving through their town, and I'll just give the synopsis of it, but it's like they're driving through their town, and that and they're like it's from telling it from the wife's perspective. It's like I look over, and my husband's not 65 anymore; he's 30, and I see the house. It's painted
Mhm.
a different color now, but I see the blue that our house was,
Yeah.
and I see our kids sitting in the yard playing with their toys, and us sitting on the front porch, and it's like, God, I'd try not to cry telling this story, but it's like to your point, everyone on that side of life would give
They give
anything to go
everything.
back to the stage
Yeah.
we're in now with young boys
Mhm.
that want you to sit there and play with them,
Yeah.
you know?
Right. Now they give
And
everything.
dude, and it again is like it's so easy to like when I wasn't working from home and wasn't around all the time, which like that has its own
Oh,
difficulties that
yeah.
come with it. It's like because like to Roman, it's like I'm here, I can do whatever he wants me to do whenever he wants me to do it. Or
Yeah.
Harvey, I'm here, like Harvey thinks I can hold him whenever. It's like it's a give and a take, and it's has its own challenges. But I'm like also very fortunate that I'm in this position where I can
Yeah.
do that to one build this podcast and two go do trips whenever like all that
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
But it puts it in perspective, like thinking back to like when I had jobs and like when I was in my darkest seasons of life, and I'd come home from the office and like I'm like, dude, I don't have
Cooked.
anything.
Yeah.
I have nothing to offer, but I'm gonna do my best.
Yeah.
And then it's so easy to like get so frustrated when they're like, Dad, can you blah, 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 Dad, can you? But I remember talking to a friend of mine a couple years ago, and her kids were older, they were teenagers. And she would work from home some, and she shared a piece of advice with me. We were talking, and I don't even know that she said it from like the perspective, like, let me help, like, let me give you like some advice. It was just like we were talking, and she said, if I'm home working and I'm on my phone or on my computer and one of my kids comes in and needs me and I'm in the middle of something, I'll say, give me 30 seconds. Don't move. Let me finish this email, finish this message, whatever I'm in the middle of, and then shut my computer, put my phone away and lock in.
Yeah.
And it's that thing to you of like you were saying that the importance of being present and in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is, and every parent has guilt, like deals
Oh
with guilt
yeah.
on something of like, I was telling you, it's like I got a Roman's case earlier. Now I'm like, dang it, I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
It's like I'm like, I should have handled it the way that I do.
Yeah.
It's like one of my biggest, I don't know if I've ever told this story before, and I've told you, I think, but when Roman was like 3, probably he was around Saints age 3 or 4. And we went through this phase with him, dude, where he was just like, everything was a fight. He was just, I mean, he's as strong-willed as I am, as hard-headed as I am. And there was one night where he just refused to go to bed. Like, would not listen, wouldn't do anything. Tori's putting him to bed. And he's just fighting it. Like, just screaming at us, losing his mind. Tori had taken shows away the next day. Tori had taken everything away. And he has these magnet tiles. You know his magnet tiles. I think Saints got them.
Oh yeah.
And he had built this huge building. And I got so done with him. I said, I'm breaking your magnet tile down, dude. I went downstairs and I kicked it over. I said, I'm throwing him in the trash. And that is one of my biggest regrets as a dad.
Yeah.
That I like, because like I can still hear in the back of my head him going, I worked so hard to build it. And like I literally grabbed his magnet tiles and I said, I'm throwing him in the trash if you don't shut your mouth and go upstairs and go to bed and start listening right now. Yeah. And I literally took him outside and put him on the trash can.
Yeah.
But it's like all that to say, it's like you lay in bed at night and like as a dad, you just sit there and you go, well, where did I miss it today?
Yeah.
Like
I was awful.
How was my tone bad? Like, how did I respond? That sucked. How was I on my phone and I wasn't present? Like all of those things. It's like for us, like we work on our phones.
Yeah.
So it's like there's a lot of times like we're on our phones because we're answering a text, answering an email, answering a phone call, whatever, or we're on our computer getting work done. But you lay there, even if you were great, even if you were present and you did stuff with them, you did what they wanted to do, you still lay there and you go, dang it, I could have been better. And like that to me, I think is one of the hardest parts of being a parent and hardest part of being a dad specifically is that of giving yourself the grace to know that's like, because like I think at the end of the day is like, if there's any goal that I have, I think as a dad is like one, I'm probably a lot, but like I want my son to trust me.
Yeah.
And to not feel like that he's a burden.
Yeah.
And I think that's what bothers me at the end of the day is like, did I make him feel like I don't have time for him?
Yeah.
Or that he is, or that like I'm not present. That's what. And so it's like those days where the Romans like you've been over here on Saturdays, we watch football. I mean, and during the fall, dude, that's all we do on weekends is watch football together. Like all me and you want to do, we're going to sit here in these chairs and we want to watch football for 12 hours. Yep. And watch Roman come down here. Dad, Uncle Colton, can we go throw football together? And so you know what we do? We go out there and throw football with him. Even when my torn shoulder is about to fall off. But it's like, but to him, those are some of his favorite things.
Oh yeah.
Like I think back
to core memories too.
And I think back to when I was a kid, like I'd go to my grandparents' house and watch football with my grandfather a lot of Saturdays. And I'd always say the same thing to him, Papa, at halftime, can we go outside and throw football? And he'd, yeah, bud, let's go. Go outside and throw football. And that's just, I mean, being a dad is incredible, but it is also so hard.
Oh yeah.
It's like equal parts exhausting, overwhelming, overstimulating, and rewarding somehow all wrapped into one.
Yeah.
How have you as a dad, how do you approach like with younger boys? So I was talking about this recently with a friend, and I think I talked about this on the last episode with Mark, but how have you approached the balance between, with Saint especially, because Rhodes is still little, but like Saint's getting older now, to where the piece between like discipline when they don't really understand discipline versus him thinking you're his best friend. Does that question make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with Saint, like early on, like it's probably been a year and a half, 2 years ago. So like, he was like 2, 1.5, 2. Like he would do things and like we're adults, so it's like I think naturally some of us, me specifically, like I just think that they're more mature than they actually are.
Yep, I know what you mean.
So it's like when he would like knowingly do something that he knows he shouldn't do, Like, I would get on him pretty good, I wouldn't spank him or anything,
Yeah.
obviously, because it's just like, there's no point.
No, because then they think they can hit you, and it's just
Yeah, and it's
yeah,
just
it's the whole
not
thing.
it's just dumb.
Mhm.
If he would hit or something, like, I'd flick his finger, and, like, he
Yep.
wouldn't do it again,
Yep.
but, I would say, like, for, like, right now, the biggest thing is just, like, we don't do the gentle parenting stuff.
Mhm.
I also don't spank him every time he does something.
Mhm.
I feel like it's a good mix of, like, hey, you know, I raise my voice probably more than I should,
Yep.
just naturally, and, definitely working on that, obviously, just trying,
Yeah.
just
Well, but
trying.
there's a difference though in raising your voice and yelling, and that's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to help Roman understand. Because like, I can raise my voice, he's like, "Why are you yelling?" I'm like, "Dude, I promise if
I
I'm
can
yelling, you're
yell.
gonna know.
Yeah.
You're gonna know."
Yeah, so I feel like with Saint, it's more of like, when he's relatively a good kid,
Yeah.
obviously,
Oh,
like,
he is.
he gets into some trouble and, things like that. It's more of just like what I try to do, just like learning from like my childhood and like what not to do, what to
Mhm.
do, what I think would work.
Yep.
Like right now we're kind of in a stage where it's like I'll just take away things.
Yep.
So it's like if he does something he knows he's not supposed to, you know,
Mhm.
whatever. It's like, okay, well, whatever you're
Yep.
doing, whether you're like watching a show or like, doing whatever, it's like, okay, well, you're not gonna have that for now, or you're gonna
Yep.
go in timeout, or
Yep.
so like it's definitely a struggle because like naturally, like I just want to like just raise my voice,
Yep.
spank him,
Yep.
move on.
Yep.
But it's like at some point I just realize it's like, okay, spank like he does get spanked when he's like
Yeah.
just knows he's
Mhm.
doing something just completely either unsafe
Yep.
or like something just crazy,
Mhm.
which is pretty rare. But like, yeah, it's mostly the things he cares about, just taking those things away.
Yep. Well,
Yeah.
and I think you made it a comment that was like, as parents, we approach it as adults of a pretty decent understanding of like right versus wrong.
Yeah.
Their brains don't
No, I
really
mean,
understand all of that,
yeah,
you
well, like,
know?
naturally, like, I mean, pretty much every adult that has a job or has a
Mhm.
business, like, they deal with adults, all day, every day, unless they're like a teacher.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's like just naturally, you're like, okay, like, you just assume they're just mature.
Yep.
They're not.
Yep.
Like, their head, like, they probably have nothing going on in their head. They're just bebopping.
Dude, they're just zooming and just don't like
Yeah, so I
they're
try to,
not
like,
thinking.
remember that,
Yep.
when he acts up or when he does things. And like I said, like, naturally, like, he's a good,
Yeah.
a good kid.
But it's like I mean, I feel like he and Roman are super similar in like personality and demeanor and character. And I don't know that I intentionally did this with Roman, but what I've realized is that I was probably far softer on him when he was younger and allowed him to navigate feelings and doing things that he shouldn't and having attitude and all that. Probably more than I should. But what I have learned is that he trusts me now.
Yeah.
And so now, with him being an 8-year-old, now I'm correcting more
Yeah.
because now he understands it. And I think like there's always the notion like I've always heard people say the notion of like when your kids are like 0 to 5, like that's when you instill discipline and when
Mhm.
they know right from wrong. And I'm like, something in me never agreed with that,
Yeah.
and I don't know that I could put my finger on it until like recently. I've been thinking more about it and having this conversation with some people. It's like they're when 0 to 5, like you says, like they're in their brain is empty half the time.
Yeah.
They're just zooming, like, even if they, like, sorta know what they're doing is wrong, they don't understand why what they're doing is
Yeah.
wrong. So it's like, why not build relationship and trust with your kid when they're little so that like, I've told this story to people, and I've told it on this podcast before, like, Roman came to me one day, it was, like, late at night, and he had just been just not, like, he just wasn't great that afternoon. Like, he
Uh-huh.
was not listening. He had a mood about everything. Everything, like, that wasn't going his way, he was frustrated about. And, like, that night, we were, like and I was frustrated with him. I was like, "Dude, like, I just need you to listen." Like, because his day tour was working, Harv I'm dealing with, like, a 3-month-old Harv, Roman's on one, and I'm just like, "Dude," like, because I remember Matt Bowden was in town and was bringing pizza over, and Rome was frustrated because he was bringing pizza he didn't like. And I'm like, nope, we're not. Like, your Uncle Matt's getting us dinner and bringing us dinner. Like, we're not going to have an attitude about that.
Yeah.
But he goes to bed that night, and we're laying there, and he looks at me and goes, Dad, I'm sorry I had an attitude tonight. He's like, I'm sorry I was struggling. He's like, it was a hard day at school today. Here's what happened, and it just affected how I was tonight. And I'm like, that's one of those moments, with an 8-year-old where you're like, okay, maybe I have done. Like, although, like, you might act out more than I want you to. I might have to correct you more than I would prefer. But I've done something right to where you can process your emotions better than I do as a 32-year-old to communicate what's wrong.
Yeah.
And again, it's like I haven't nailed it.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'll handle things differently with Harv in some regards and some aspects. Also is a very interesting dynamic of like having 2 kids, especially like an 8-year-old and a baby. Is like the baby can't be corrected, dude.
Yeah. Right.
Basically, he doesn't know. He's just
No.
like, he's literally like, his brain's like, like I've seen the thing on Instagram or TikTok a lot lately where it's like, how am I supposed to get mad at the baby when this is what's going on in his brain? It's just like, and it's like, no, that's a fact. Like, but navigating that dynamic, and I'm sure you deal with it some between Rhodes and Saint, because like Saint knows right from wrong more, and Rhodes is a 1-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, there's things, Rhodes, he's 15 months. And like there's things like he knows he's not supposed to do. It's crazy like watching him. And like I get on him like, yeah, he's a year and a half, but like I'll be like, no.
Yeah,
like, hey, like what are you doing?
It's not a matter of like you don't ever correct your baby or your young kid. It's just like the approach to it and how hard you are.
Yeah,
is more what I'm talking about.
We'll be eating dinner and he's in his little chair. And when he's done eating, naturally he just starts grabbing his food and throwing it.
Yep.
Every time. It drives me nuts. Cause like sometimes it's like, it could be pasta, it could be refried beans, it could be
it's in his hand and it's on the floor.
And he is just slinging it. So as soon as he picks that hand up, every time, and I'll watch him, he'll pick his hand up, and I'm like, we make eye contact, me and him. I'm like, no. And he goes,
yep.
Just looking at me. I'm like, bro.
Oh yeah. Harv started that.
I'm like, so I just tell him like, I'm like, like a stern, like, no. Like just to like, like try to like begin.
Yeah.
Begin the correction. Cause like, I mean, what are you gonna like, he's a baby. So it's like,
yeah.
There's not much you can do, but like just instilling that, like, hey, things you're not supposed to do, you're gonna hear no.
Yeah.
Because like some kids never hear no, and that's why they're bad. That's why they do things.
We could give examples.
Yeah, and when you don't tell your kid no, like naturally they freak out over everything that doesn't go right in their life. Yeah. So like with Saint, at this age, I'm more in the correcting stage, where because like he is very smart.
Oh yeah,
like he is very smart, and I'm not just saying that because he's my child, but like, he's very smart.
Yeah, he is.
And so like, there's things like he knows he's not supposed to do, and like I said, like we're to a point where it's like, no, I don't spank him every time he does something wrong. It's more of a, hey, why did you do that?
Yeah,
me and Gabby are on the same page. It's like after he does something he's not supposed to do, we'll be like, hey, whether it's me or her, why'd you do that? Do you know why you're not supposed to do that?
Yeah.
This, that, and the other. So it's a struggle, know, because like I said, like naturally, it's just the way I was raised. It's like naturally, like you raise your voice, you yell, you get spanked with a belt, it's like, but like I'm gonna do my best not to raise my kids like that, so it's interesting. Yeah.
Oh, dude, and and I feel like it's just every parenting is just seasons.
Yeah.
And you just somewhere along the lines, like you realize that, and it's like Tor and I were talking earlier. It's like Harv is not sleeping great, and it's just like it's a season. Like I remember early on with Harvey, it's, dude, I mean, with the newborn, dude, it's life is. And I looked at Tor one day, and I said something, and I'm like, I'm losing my mind. And she's like, I know. She's like, but I'm gonna be. She's like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, when these kids are gone, it's still gonna be us, and it's.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, when you have a newborn, when you have multiple kids, when you have kids, a kid, like you and your wife are battling a battle every day.
Yep. And you got to find a way to be on the same page.
And you have to remind yourself you're on the same team.
Yep.
You know, like there's nights where it's like, you know, we went out to eat for somebody's birthday and it's like it was late. We were out 2 hours past Rose's bedtime.
Mm-hmm.
He was on one. Saint was on one. We get in the truck. We're at home. Saint's still on one. I grab Gabby's hand and she says, "We're on the same team."
Yep.
And it's like, you have to keep that.
Oh, 100%.
Because if you let it just fester and just,
oh yeah,
it's just not.
Because it's so easy to become, and like you and I've talked about this. It's so easy, especially in like the early stages of parenting, of like early young kids, and like, dude, ain't nobody sleeping, ain't nobody, nothing's going anybody's way.
No,
not a lick.
you're in a battle,
and it's so easy for it to become a battle against each other if you're not careful of like who's more tired, who's dealing with more, who's not, you know, whose life is harder, who, you know, and it's not that. It's just like you gotta find, and dude, that's, you're dead on. It's like we are on the same team.
You can't make it a pissing battle.
No, dude, because ain't nobody winning a pissing battle.
No, everybody just get pissed.
Everybody's just getting pissed on. So you make it a pissing battle, everybody loses because everybody's wet.
Yeah,
some people like that, but
yeah.
Dude, it's almost 10 o'clock. You think I wasn't going to get off the rails a little bit?
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, it's, you know, just reminding
I'm
yourself.
drinking a FIFA World Cup. Shout out
Shout out FIFA.
Make Ultra. How often do I have Make Ultra in this house? Rare. Never. Yeah. Okay. How long have you and Gabs been together?
Together?
16 years?
No.
Pretty dang close. You all been together almost since you was in diapers.
13.
Oh, like I said, almost since you were in diapers. You started dating what, junior year of high school, right?
Mm-hmm. The summer before junior year. Yeah.
What stage of that did you know? Like, I mean, when you're dating somebody in high school, you're like, we're getting married. You know, I feel like that was like, I remember dating people in high school, like, we're gonna be together forever. Like the concept of like just you're dating and then like you're gonna break up isn't in your brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, what's your question?
Well, I didn't ask one yet.
Okay, you were going to.
I was going to, but so like, where in the line of you start dating, going into junior year of high school, did you realize it's like, okay, like. Because I remember, like, Tori and I started dating, like, I was not far removed from high school.
Yeah.
But, like, we went, like, on our first day, and I was like, all right, I know I'm going to marry her.
Yeah.
Where in the line of that, after you start dating, going into junior year, where you knew, like, okay, I'm going to marry this girl, and we're gonna be together forever?
Yeah, so, essentially, so I asked her out originally that summer.
Mm-hmm.
We dated for a week. She broke up with me. And
we had some classes. I was gonna ask that, but I wasn't sure if that was where that fell in line.
So, like, freshman year, we had some classes together. You know, we sat by each other, blah, blah. Like, wasn't a thing. Like, it just, you know, we just knew each other. Yep. Sophomore year, had some classes together. I really liked her.
Yep.
She was dating another guy for a while, and I was just like,
dang,
it is what it is. It's whatever. Yep. Still liked her. And I was like, I don't know, like, what it was, but I was just like, that's the one for me.
Yep.
And like, I don't know why, like,
yeah,
you know, I mean, I have my reasons, but
you're not gonna say them on the pod.
Not gonna say them on the pod. But yeah, so
I chugged myself laughing.
We started, you know, we dated for a week. She broke up with me. She said I was too nice, which is just insane. It's crazy. But at this point, I tell all my young brothers, women think the opposite we do.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever you're thinking, they think the opposite.
Oh yeah.
So anyways, I got dumped after dating a week, and I was down bad, but I was like, whatever. Like, it's whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that's a stupid excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was pissed.
Oh, I would have been.
Yeah. So that
so now
fall,
you become a bad boy.
We kind of moved on. Not moved on, but you know, we went our separate ways.
Yeah,
you dated other people. I dated other people, and then obviously she didn't like me dating other people.
Mm-hmm.
Just the whole thing, but it's fine. So, anyways, that February, I asked her out in school. Like we were just like it was at lunch or something. We're in the hallway eating lunch or whatever, sitting together. And the time between she broke up with me and the time I asked her out, again, like we had became very close friends.
Yeah.
Like for whatever reason, like I said, like it was just one of those things. It was like we weren't dating, but I was mad for a minute and I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like we became friends, eventually became best friends. Like we did a lot of stuff together. Like obviously she was still dating guys and I was, dating girls, this, that, and the other. And, we just became really close. And then, I think through that time, like we just got, like I said, we just got really close and, learned more about each other, blah, blah, blah. So I asked her out again.
Yep.
I think it was at lunch. And she said, I don't want you to ask me out at school. And I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? I was pissed at that point. I was like, whatever.
Whatever, dude.
So I had, my first truck was a 96 Dodge 1500.
Yeah, it was.
Single cab.
Yeah, it was.
Had like 290,000 miles on it.
Barely ran.
The exhaust hangers were broke. The exhaust was hanging off. It was just, it was my truck. It was my first truck. It was like,
ain't nothing like it.
Yeah. Anyways, so we were on the way home from a basketball game in Bay Minette, which is north of town, north of where we're from. And I was like, all right, we were in the Dodge. I was like, will you go out with me? Like just, stupid high school.
Yep.
And so anyways, we ended up dating. And then, I just pretty much from the jump, like I just knew like for whatever reason, whatever intuition, like whatever, like she was one for me.
Yeah.
So kind of cheesy to say, but
no, dude.
Yeah,
but no, it's real though. Like I used to tell people, and I still do. I'm like, honestly, when you know. Like, and it's not that it's like things are easy. I mean, like, cause like you guys been married now, what, 7 years, right? 8 years?
7.
In 7 years, you've been through hell together. It's not easy. Ain't a lick of it easy, dude.
No.
But it's worth it. But it's like, but when you meet the right person, I promise you.
You just work it out.
It somehow you find a way to make it through, and you grow up together, and you figure it out, and then you build a life together. But that's like my favorite joke to make with you is, have you ever watched How I Met Your Mother? You know the show. You know what it is.
Yeah.
So in that friend group, there's Marshall and Lily. And they start dating, senior year or freshman year of college, whatever. They're together. They get married. And Marshall always makes these. There's like an episode somewhere in the show. Marshall's like, guys, this, because like Barney's a guy in the friend group and he's sleeping with a different girl all the time, whatever. And Marshall's like, guys, this girl one time. And Lily's like, they're like, we know it's Lily. And he's like, somewhere along the lines in an episode, he's like, Lily, I have the greatest stories of the best freak ever. And I can't tell them because everybody knows they're about you. And so my favorite joke to make to you is like, you guys are just Marshall and Lily. Like, you've been together forever. It's like, and Tori's like, she'll look at me and she'll go, you do realize you are also.
Yeah.
Like you, and I'm like, no, I know that's part of the fun of the joke is that's how long we both have been with our wives is like, our stories are just.
Yeah. That's real.
Dude, what's it been like for you all now at this stage? Being married 7 years. I mean, again, you've been together for 13, you said, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Married for 7, 2 kids. Like, what has been the grounding force for you that's kept you all sane when it's been hard? Between like a miscarriage, and well, let me rephrase that question a little. Because you came from a divorced family. She did not, correct? Her parents are still together.
Yeah.
But so, what for you, through 7 years of marriage, 13 years together, has been the thing that's like, where you didn't see parents that, and this is not I mean, I know your parents. I love your parents. They're phenomenal. But like they went their separate ways for whatever reasons. But like for you, it's been different. Not different, but like you've said, like, hey, we're in this for the long haul, no matter what. Like we're gonna stick it out. What has been the driving force for you in that?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, just being on the same page, with each other. I mean, essentially we grew up together. Really.
Oh yeah.
And I just feel like when you do that, you grow up together. You're in your 20s together,
Mhm.
in your 30s. You just have like what the other one's thinking.
Yep.
Like you're not fooling the other one.
Mhm.
There's you just have a connection that, you know, through the Lord, it's like unbreakable.
Mhm.
It's just like you're on the same page.
Mhm.
That's the biggest thing. It's like we're on the same page with parenting, we're on the
Mhm.
same page with church, like, just all the things, like you're just on the same page. And I feel like that's
Mhm.
key,
Where you're fighting not with each other, but like with each other.
yeah, I
You know
mean,
what I
like
mean?
whatever you're fighting, like you're fighting
Together, I guess.
together. Yeah, I mean, there's like obviously like we have arguments and things like that, just marriage stuff
Yeah,
and
everybody does. If people say they
but
don't argue, they're lying.
yeah,
Respectfully.
but it's like we don't have knockdown dragouts about stuff because it's like at the end of the day, it's like we're on the same team.
Yep.
Who
You
cares?
probably have one good fight every 6 months.
Yeah,
Like one
maybe.
big one.
Yeah, maybe.
And it
And
and it
it's
may
like
and it may last a couple days. And then at some point in time you just look at each other like, what are we fighting about?
yeah, because at this point, like there's nothing really to fight about
Yep.
that's major like that. That's like
Mhm.
like there's no point.
Yeah. And like I feel like with Tori and I, if we're fighting about something, it's driven by some external factor.
Oh,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? It's not
Yeah.
like necessarily between us. It's like something with life is going on and that like drives
Yeah,
it.
you both had a terrible week or,
Yeah.
like just
Mhm.
life.
What was there any part of you, having watched your parents go through divorce and experience that made you scared to get married?
No. No. Well, I'll only say that because my parents split up when I was 18.
That's right. You were a
Um,
little older.
yeah, so I mean, just seeing the things that they went through,
Mhm.
they had me super young,
Mhm.
and they grew up together as well.
Yeah.
They grew up together and grew apart, and um, just watching them grow and like, they're both so much better off now.
Mhm.
And they're both doing great families. And yeah, I mean, I was never
Yeah.
didn't make me scared, to get married
Yeah.
because, at the end of the day, it's like you see things, you're like, okay,
Mhm.
like that's, X isn't going to be an option or,
Mhm.
like whatever it looks like,
Mhm.
you just take things from every step of life.
Mhm.
You just take something from it.
Mhm.
You don't, you just learn from everything,
Yep.
really. So,
That makes sense. Well, let's talk a little about I want to talk about Delta a little bit.
okay.
We've talked about everything else in life. So Delta Property Solutions is your company you started.
Yep.
Well, we haven't talked about everything in life. We've talked about a lot. Where did the name Delta come from?
Couldn't tell you. I don't know. Well, I mean, I say that. It's like back home, like you have deltas down there, like, kind of that in the Gulf area. So like it's just a name. I genuinely have no I couldn't tell you.
It was just a name that you had seen in
Yeah,
your
it was
life.
just,
There's no subliminal meaning behind the name.
no secret societies or anything like that.
Maybe we should start one.
Maybe we could.
We could.
No, I mean,
We meet at
so
Losers every Thursday.
yeah. So like something, something that somebody told me, years ago before I ever, you know, started a company or did anything like that.
Mhm.
It was when me and my dad and brother were, starting a landscaping company, and they were like, if somebody asks you, in this instance, it's a landscaping company. So like, if somebody asks you, who does your landscaping? Like people were at, around a bonfire,
Mhm.
around a grill, like whatever. They're like, hey, like who does your landscaping? You want it to be something short,
Mhm.
where it's like you can have a long name, but like, for instance, like with me, it's like, who did the painting in your house, or like
Mhm.
who did, whatever, and it's like, oh, Delta.
Mhm.
It's like you just have that short verbiage where it's like, where they're not like, oh, it was Quantum Physics LLC, like something stupid.
Yeah.
Something
Right. I
long.
know what you mean.
So like I just wanted it to be like kind of something like, yes, it's Delta Property Solutions, like that's the full name, but it's
Mhm.
like Delta.
Yeah.
So
What made you wanna branch out and start your own company? Like, I know that you had always wanted to have your own company, but, like, what made you? Because it's been what? almost 4 years, 3.5, right? Since you like officially started doing junk removal stuff, give or take.
So I started. Yeah, I mean it's been about 2.5.
Okay.
Almost 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I started out. Well, like I said, I always known that I wanted to be. I wanted to, own a business. Try it. I've always been around business, so I just, I was like, I've always felt like that's my calling. So it's like leading other people. Doing good work, and so anyways, I started it, and I started doing junk removal. Bought a trailer.
Ripped the dump trailer.
Yep, RIP. They got stolen. But
Mark and I were just talking about that earlier. He told me to ask you if we could swindle you into buying another one so that he could use it.
I'm gonna have another one here soon. Hopefully.
And you're keeping it here.
Yeah,
we're not keeping it where it used to be kept.
Nah, so I started out with junk removal, and the reason I did that, because like now we do pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Like there's not really nothing we don't do at this point. I started with junk removal because when I had a W-2, so I was like, I knew I didn't want to start a business not having some kind of security. So I had a W-2 and I started the business, and I was like, all right, when the business is doing enough to where I can support my family, like I'll jump off and jump head first. And so I started doing junk removal, and the reason I've chose that is anybody will pay you $75, $125, $150 to come haul off a bunch of stuff, from their house. So I would show up, load the stuff up by myself, and I'll say, hey, like, here's a card, like, this is all the things we do, and I said we, like, I had employees.
Nah, dude, you gotta
it
say
was
we.
me.
You gotta say we.
It was me.
When I it's like when I send emails about like
our team.
If I send any email, like one, it comes from like the official greenhouse email, and so it seems like I got a whole team of people.
Oh yeah,
nah, dog, it's me.
Nah, it's just you.
It's
me.
Yeah,
so it's just me. I was like, yeah, here's all the things we do.
When I say our producers, it's me.
Yeah, it's you. And they'd be like, oh yeah, it's great. So like that was a way in. Like people would pay me for a lead. Like it was a lead for me.
Yeah.
So it's like if I could get in front of somebody, like, we're gonna do business. So I would. Just kind of built up a customer base where, just based off of doing junk removals.
Yep.
And, it was good side money, like just doing it, kind of building the business, kind of growing. And then, later, about a year later, that summer, I was in a bowling league, and we were in the league, and this guy walks up to Brian, one of our friends that's in the league, that's in the on my team, and he was like, hey, they knew each other from bowling prior, and he's like, hey, like, are you hiring, are y'all hiring, this, that, and the other, because Brian had a Sherwin Williams shirt on, and Brian was like, no, like, that's my father-in-law's shirt, he works for them, yada yada yada. And he was like, but Colton might be hiring. And then so he introduced me to Lonnie, and I was like, hey man, Lonnie's like, I've been a painter, my whole life, this, that, and the other. And he's like, I'm looking for work. My old boss, he's had a lot of health problems, this, that, and the other. And, so I'm just looking for work. And he's like, do you have an opening? And I was like, in my head, I was like, I have zero painting set up.
Yep.
Like right now, like I would do it, as it came, but like I still have a W-2, so I was still comfortable.
Yep.
And, but I was like, you can start Monday if you want. And I was like, in the back of my head, I was like, "Oh crap!"
Yep.
I was like,
because at that point in time,
out.
the jobs you would do, because you and I were doing jobs together.
Oh yeah.
And because you like either I would be like someone would reach out to me and like I'd call you, be like, hey, let's just anything that came my way, like random odd jobs. We've always run it all through Delta.
Yeah.
But like to preface this, you were doing jobs from like 2:30 to 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And Friday, Saturdays. Those are the only, because like you were still working, a job that you worked Sundays to Thursdays, basically. Yeah. So like it wasn't like you were working full time Monday through Friday, like golly. And
I just I had my junk removal jobs. I had these odd end jobs, pressure washing, whatever. Just whatever I could do to get get the name out there and get the cards out there.
You've done a lot of pressure washing jobs.
Yeah, And, so I talked to Lonnie, and like I said, like I had 0 painting lined up for the next 3 weeks, like none. And like Lonnie, lifetime painter, I'm giving him a job, my first hire. And I was like, I left and I was like, what did I just do? Like, I was like, I just hired somebody and I have 0 work lined up for this guy.
Yep.
Like, he's going to start Monday and like, there's not going to be nothing to start.
Yep.
So, and that was I think that was on a Monday or Tuesday when I met Lonnie. So I was like, that whole week I was just like scrambling.
Yep.
And I was like, I gotta find work for Lonnie.
I gotta find work for
this dude's gonna think I'm an idiot.
Was that summer of 24, right?
Yeah, summer of 24.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, I gotta find work for Lonnie. Like, this dude is gonna be pissed. He shows up Monday and like there's nothing, like there's no work.
And he's not getting paid to not work.
Right. And so I said to say that is when I hired Lonnie, like that was the turning point of the business, because it's like when you go from like having a W-2 and then having like a side gig, that's essentially what it was, and then you hire somebody, it changes your entire perspective of everything because now you're responsible for him and his family or them and their family, like whoever it is.
Yep.
And, so I had Lonnie that the rest of that year, I kept him, by the grace of God, like I said, like it just lit a fire. So it's like he worked 30 to 40 hours every week the rest of that year, since day one.
Yeah.
And, and then towards the end of the year, hired, Ricky as helper, and then, kept the business growing like that. And then, made some more hires since then. And, we're up to, 7 guys, and it's like absolutely crazy. And, it's just.
The crazier part is the worlds you've gotten into with clientele.
Yeah.
Too,
I mean,
which like, again, I don't want to get into specifics of that. But like to be 2-3 years into really, I mean, you've only been full time for a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, full time a year and a half. About a year.
Yeah, was it because like what was it? January of 25? Is that?
No, it was
or no,
April.
April. That's right. I forgot you didn't.
Yeah,
go full
so we're not even a year and a half in.
And dude, the world you've ended, like
it's.
You've one of my favorite stories, and I'm not going to tell specific details. Which we call each other probably once a day, once every couple of days to tell each other something stupid. That's like, and then we end up talking about bullshit the whole time. You call me like 7:30 one night, and I'm like, this is kind of random. You call me this late, but so I knew you needed something. I was like, what's up? You're like, I gotta tell you a story. I'm like, what? You're like, you'll never guess what just happened. And and I'm like, dude, this wasn't long ago. This was like 2 or 3 months. Well, 4 or 5 months ago. It was this year, right after the ice storm.
No, it was before the ice storm.
Was it? So it was this year, but it was like January.
No, it was during the ice storm.
That's right. It was. So you called me, and I'm like, and you told me the story, and I was like, dude, what world are you living in right now? What has that been like for you to get into some of the circles you've been able to get into that like you would have dreamt of?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
I pinch myself every day. Like it's like, and I said it the other day to myself, like just thinking out loud. Like I was driving, we had a job in the Governor's Club, and I'm just like, these people have no idea who they're letting in the Governor's Club.
Yep.
Like I'm just a dude from Loxley.
You're literally good old country boy from Loxley, Alabama.
And like we've done work in the Governor's Club. We've done work in Troubadour, and it's like I'm just a guy from Loxley.
Yeah.
Like I pinch myself every day.
Yeah.
And it's like how do we get here?
Dude, it's crazy.
And it's a whirlwind, because it's like, you get to work around, work for, like people you listen to growing up, like just absolutely, like just create, like it's just, I don't know, I can't even explain it. Like it's, I mean, it's definitely, obviously, it's a blessing from God, but it's just like, it's absolutely
no, it's not. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, because it's like, how did I get here? My
favorite was we were sitting at Santa Luz's with my buddy Devin. He was in town for work, and I've known. I mean, Devin is like one of my oldest friends at this point in time. I mean, we've been boys since high school. I mean, he's older than me. And we're sitting there, and you're telling him stories, and I'm telling him stories, and whatnot. We're talking about all this crazy stuff, and you're telling about like some of the stuff you've been doing. And he looks at the two of us, and he goes, "Boys, y'all are close." And I'm like, And it's funny because like when you're living in it,
Yeah.
you know, whether it's what I'm doing with this podcast and some of the people I've been blessed to have on, and or what you're doing with Delta and the clients you've been blessed to work with, and now our friend have you become friends with and stuff like that. Like you don't really realize like how sick what you're getting to do is.
Yeah, I mean,
Until like you talk to someone and you're like, oh yeah, no, like I'm actually getting to do something that like people dream of doing.
yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, I pinch myself all the time, and it's
wild.
like I'm literally just a dude from I'm a freaking redneck from Bloxley, Alabama. Like,
Yeah, I'm not a
like
redneck from West Virginia. I'm a city boy from West Virginia, but I
all people
masquerade.
from West Virginia are rednecks.
That's, I mean, it's not, you're not wrong. Roman asked me the
Well,
other day.
I guess y'all would be hillbillies.
Roman asked me the other day. He was watching Wizards of Waverly Place, maybe, or something. There was like some episode with, or no, he was watching Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, I think. Whatever. One of those two shows, and they end up at like a hillbilly house or something. And he goes, Dad, what's the difference between that country and our country? And I go, that's hillbillies. We're just a country.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. I'm like, good. I didn't know how to answer. I didn't know how to answer that beyond that. But dude, I am proud of you because I mean, I know how hard you work and what you sacrifice and like what it took for you. Because I remember us having a conversation early on, right around when you started. Because like you've always had hustle and grind and grit. Because like I mean, dude, even when we first met, like you were flipping cars, you were flipping whatever you could find to flip, you were flipping. That was when the market was still good enough to flip that stuff. But like you were anything you could do to find to like increase income, like you were doing. But I remember us having a conversation because like you'd had a job as a W-2 employee up here for 2 years, 2 or 3, about 2 years before you started.
Yeah,
Delta,
2 years,
like on the side, and I remember us having a conversation, and that was really when we started to get super close. And you looked at me like, I got too comfortable. It's time to. I got it.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
and
real.
So it's like,
you know, it's like you're just doing the same thing.
So how did you fight, like, because you said you talked about when you started Delta as a kind of a side hustle and doing jobs, you know, odds and ends to, you know, make extra money. You were comfortable doing it because you had this safety net of the W-2. So how then did you fight did you get past the safety net and go, you know what, it's time to, like, the way I described this recently was like you still had one cord of your ship cut at the dock.
Yeah.
And you finally cut that. And now look at where, like, because like I think in life it's easy to hang on to that one cord because you know, like, okay, I might be cattywampus and I might have, you know, half the ship out the bay, but like I still got one tied, so I still can get off if I need to, even though we're starting to leave.
Yeah.
But and then you don't realize what affords you when you leave.
Yeah, you know, and it's, I mean, like anything, you know, I went full time with it, you know, a year and a half ago, you know, but I was running a crew, you know, for about a year. You know, prior to that, you know, it just got to a point.
Which is wild.
Yeah,
it was
crazy. Dude, I was working literally 7 days a week, nonstop. And it got to a point where I had to jump off.
Yep.
You know, and I tell people all the time, it's like when I made the jump, you know, from having the safety net into not, you know, there's no plan B.
Yeah.
Like my plan A is Delta, and like, we're gonna make it work regardless. Like whatever that looks like.
Whatever it takes.
Like there's no plan B.
Yep.
You know. And I guess the thing that, you know, just kind of pushed it was like, you know, I've always read and, you know, reading things and videos and stuff, and they're like, you know, when you start a business, you know, don't go full time with it. Don't jump in with it until the workout paces, you know, your W-2. And I was like, at that point, I was just wore out.
Yeah.
You know, I was like almost burnout.
Oh, you
on
were
just
for
life.
Sure, dude. Yeah.
You know, because I'm working on the business. I'm, you know, every evening, like I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
You know, weekends I'm working. We have a, you know, young baby, like all the things, and like I just had to make a jump. Mm-hmm. You know, and when I made the jump, you know, I just say it was like literally like jumping off a cliff into the ocean without a paddle. You know, and it's like you know, like at this point, you know, the steps I made to get to this place here, like you have to do that.
Yeah.
Like you just have to, like, if there's something you want to do, like you just got to freaking do it.
At some point in time, you got to jump, dude.
you
And
can't
it's
just stand on the you
and
can't
having a
stand
family
on
makes it
the
harder to do it.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
and it's like when you have you have your family and then you have other people's families that
Yep.
you're feeding as well,
Yep.
and it's like you it just applies more pressure,
Mhm.
and with pressure, like, you either push through it or you crumble,
Or you
and it's
crumble,
like you have to keep pushing.
Yep.
Like, I couldn't give it up tonight because I've got my family.
Yep.
I've got 7 other families I've gotta take care of.
Yep.
Like, they rely on me,
Yep.
and you just have to, you know, just gotta keep it pushing
Oh,
and,
100%.
Make the jump and
How important has it been excuse me. How important has it been for you in starting your own venture, having your own business, to have mentors that are ahead of you, that have been guiding lights, and like people you can sit down and talk through struggles, whatever.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, I feel like you have to, and,
Yeah.
growing up, I didn't see
Mhm.
nobody had, nobody had, mentors that I
Mhm.
knew,
Yeah.
had, people like that. I mean, they may have, uncles or whatever, but,
Yeah.
and when I got here, it was you see all the things online where people are like, "Oh, mentors, this, that, and the other,"
Mhm.
and by the grace of God, I got one. I mean, you know who he is,
Yep, and he's one of the
I tell
best.
him all the time, he's my mentor, whether he wants to be or not.
Yep, and he is one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, he's just incredible, and he's ran a highly successful and sold a multi-million-dollar business. He's up, he's up in age.
Mhm.
He's done a lot of life, and yeah, I mean, I call him all the time,
Yep.
asking about things like, "Hey, I screwed this up. Like,
Yep.
what do I do?"
Dude, but having someone like that though that you can call and talk through those things with, who don't treat you like an idiot. You know what
Yeah,
I
I
mean? Because
mean,
like I feel like
because
that's a fear for people like us. It's like one are entrepreneur brained and like are building something as like, and also care about what we're doing, is we're scared sometimes to talk about the struggles we're facing in what we're doing because we don't want someone to, we know we're dumb for what we did.
yeah,
So we don't want to be treated like we're dumb. We want someone to like have a level conversation with us and help us through it, and not be like, why in the hell did you do that?
yeah, yeah. I mean, with mine, you know, there we have conversations, and I feel like you have to have these conversations with people like that to gain, to
Mhm.
get anything or to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
Like we had a conversation. It was last year, or late last year. I was just talking through some things with the business and
Mhm.
running numbers and all the things, and I come out of it like, man, I should just give this whole thing up.
Yep.
It's like I'm a failure.
Yep.
But you have to have conversations like that
Mhm.
with those people who's seen things, who's
Yeah.
done things, who's done things that, where you want to be or where you would
Mhm.
strive to be.
Yep.
That's and that's in all areas of life, not necessarily just business, but if you want to run a very successful business,
Mhm.
you've got to talk to the people who've done it.
Yep.
There's plenty of people online that with the videos and stuff, like young kids, and that they haven't lived any life.
Yep.
They haven't ran a business like
That's
that.
what I feel like is one of the detriments of our generation a little bit, is we want to listen to peers talk that have built something,
Yeah.
which this is not to take away from people who are young who built something
No,
successful.
and
It's incredible.
there's definitely people that
Yeah,
have, but it's a very small percentage.
but we are better off. And this is like Mark and I had this conversation last week, which Mark, and you've but and we were talking about that episode the other day, but he is someone who is 40, 30 years ahead of me in life. So not like we're not talking business stuff, but like I'll sit down and I mean, it's the same reason I like talk to my dad. Is like this is someone who's lived more life as a husband, a father, a man than I have, who I can go sit down and talk about life with and learn
Mhm.
from. And I think our generation at times struggles to do that because I think we're scared that the older generation will think we're dumb.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, to your point, is like, I mean, you talk about, picking the mentor, but it's like one of my best friends who is not, I mean, he's older than me, but so like, he's not like a senior, but like, he's the person I can call and I go, hey, I'm
Mhm.
thinking about doing for, greenhouse. And he called me and he goes, you don't need to do that yet.
Yeah.
He's like, you like, because I remember having a conversation with him like early on when I was starting all of this.
Yeah.
So it was a year ago. So like I was 8 months before we even released the podcast. It was still like, and I was like, hey, I'm like, what do I need to do to set up the business? And he's like, nothing. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, you do not need to file the formal paperwork until you have a reason to. He said, and when we get there, we're going to do it together. And so I called him one day. I texted him one day. I didn't call him. I texted him. I can't get him on damn phone. I can get him to respond to a text in 30 seconds. Phone call, no shot. Yeah. He's too busy for that. Oh, I know I'm gonna get 30 Instagram DMs from you at 10 o'clock at night, and I'm gonna get a text from you. I'll get a text from you during the day, and I'll get a call back an hour later. But I told him one day, I said, hey, I just want you to know that someday when this thing's big enough, I said, you're coming on CEO. I said, because your brain's better than mine. He's like, all right, sounds great. But all that to say, it's like you got to have people like that in your life who are further ahead than you, who have lived it. And not just, and it's also helpful not just have lived it, but like have dealt with failure.
Right.
Have seen things crash and burn and have bounced back from that. And it's just, dude, that is, I think, one of the, because you're right. It's like, you got to have people like that in business and in life too, of like that you can call and say, hey, it's like, I mean, you're one of my best friends. So we call and talk about life all the time, but like, because it's helpful to talk through those things with people who are going through what you're going through. But it's also helpful to talk to people that are older than you who are like,
absolutely.
Like, because you and I are going to sympathize with each other a lot. Right. And we're going to correct each other because that's the nature of our relationship. But also we need, like, we both have people older than us who are going to go, dude, you're really sucking as a husband right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know? All right, hey, I got a question for you. And we'll wrap soon. I don't even know how long we've been talking at this point in time. It is what it is. What's your favorite job? Now, nope, I'm not going to say that. What's your favorite job we've ever done together?
I've got the worst.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I got a top 5 worst.
Oh, dude. We have a running joke. Because, like, again, it's like, I started doing pressure washing on the side, 3 years ago or something. And then somewhere along the lines, I was like, yo, what if I just roll this under Delta, and if people call me to want stuff done, or like if you got landscaping stuff, like we've done landscaping jobs together. Like if you need help on something, you call me, I'll go do it. Like, I mean, I'm flexible. We've done a lot of stuff together. But we have a running joke. We've done one job, I think. Well, I don't even know that went according to plan. That one took so much long. That was the closest job we've ever had that went remotely. One job we did about a year and a half ago didn't get finished until like 4 months later when we sent Lonnie and Ricky over. And you literally called me. You said, I'm just going to eat their payroll cost. We're not going back.
Yeah. Yeah, that client was awful. I blame you every bit of it because it was somebody you brought.
The best part of that was that we didn't get the job. Yeah. Because we were too much.
Yeah,
and then we got a call back and got the job and ended up being almost double what the initial estimate was.
Yeah.
Now, I think one of my favorite, like one of the first jobs we did together was for our friend Matt. Yeah. And you had a bunch of like odd jobs through Delta there, and then we were also doing the pressure washing through Delta there, and some other like work for them. And we get there, pressure washer won't start. Yep. That pressure washer was doomed from the jump. It won't start, so we had to go rent one. Get back, it's running. Then ours is now running. But I think one of my favorite stories, Tori and I joke about this all the time. One of my favorite like awful jobs we did together was, we were just talking about the other day. You know exactly what the story I'm about to tell.
Yeah.
We did a deck cleaning and resurfacing.
Yeah.
In the dead of June. Where the whole deck.
It might have been July.
No, it was June because I just sent you the picture. Like it was like a week ago, a few days ago. So it was like, it wasn't as bad as July's, but where that deck set, you were in the sun from 9 a.m. until the sun went down. And you had been out at a junk removal job all morning. And we thought we were like restaining or painting a deck. And we were not. It was some product that Bear or somebody makes called Deck Over.
Yeah.
That is, I liken it to the same viscosity of curdled milk.
Yeah. Elmer's glue.
It was like we were applying glue to
it's a terrible
160 square foot deck.
Yeah.
And we didn't finish it late in the day. It was like 3. It took
about 3.
it took us a while to do it. Like I started, you came over, we were doing or whatever. And we finished, and like the whole time we were working, you looked at me, you're like, dude, I feel like I'm gonna die. You're like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Well, we get back to our house. Because like it was in our old neighborhood. We get back to my house. You literally we walk in and Tora looks at you and she goes, Colton, you good? You're like, no, I think I'm gonna die. And she like makes us like a liquid IV or whatever we had, hands us both a liquid IV. You're sitting on the floor of my house. Your hat's off, your sunglasses are off, and you're just sitting there, and you're white as a ghost. You are literally the color of the ceiling. You were white as a ghost. And Tori's like, Colton, are you good? You're like, no. And she's like, can you drive home? You're like, yeah. And you got home, and I think it was the next day you text me like, I literally almost passed out on the way home.
Oh, dude, it was off.
Tori and I will still joke about that. She's like, she's like, he was in a bad spot. I was like, oh no, you were dehydrated on every level. Oh, dude. No, we've got some stories of awful jobs we've done.
Yeah, just you live and you learn.
The mulch job we did that was like 9,000 bags of mulch.
At Susan's.
At Susan's. That one wasn't that bad.
That was a good job. I mean, that job turned out
job.
great.
It did. Or when we got the 5 yards or 7 yards of mulch and it was the wrong color.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, I must have blocked it out.
You don't remember showing up and it was like they'd gotten like a dark brown and you got black and we didn't know it until you dumped it and you looked at me and you go, it's the wrong color. And you're like, cover it. You don't remember that?
Oh, was that
yeah, it's at the job from hell. Dude, I remember it was like, dude, we were working on that because like that was when you were still full time.
Oh yeah, well, so I got black mulch, and I went back to get more.
They had already had mulch delivered on that one.
They had mulch delivered.
They had mulch delivered,
and then
and we got mulch on top of it.
Yeah, they gave me the wrong mulch.
And it was already dumped too, and it was just like, we're just gonna make it work. And they never said a word about it. But that was the one that when we got that job, you were still full time. So, and it was also November.
Yeah.
So the sun was setting at 4:30.
Oh yeah.
We were working with headlamps until 8:00 at night.
Yeah.
In 40-degree weather. Awful. It was the week of Thanksgiving, and we were trying to get that job done. And dude, that was, and like you were going to Alabama. I had family coming in. Somehow we wrapped it before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Dude, that was.
And she wanted to do the stamps.
Dude, that was just
that was a job from hell. This is a job that never ended.
No, that is a complete and absolute fact. It was just every time we turn around, we were doing something different, and it was just like, all right, well, here's the price to do it. Okay, sounds great. I was like, okay, sounds great. All right, I got one final question for you before we finish. It's also, thanks for coming on, dude. It's been fun to sit here and talk with you. I got a massive blister right on my hand mowing. I mowed the field today. Ask me how I got a blister mowing. I couldn't tell you, but
you need to work your hands more.
Apparently so. Get man hands.
You got.
Yeah, yeah. I knew that was coming. Well, I mowed Tor and I were walking in the house right before you got here. I said, dang, I need to mow the front yard. She's like, you literally just mowed it Tuesday. I said, yeah, but I mowed the field today. She's like, you mowed it all day today. I was like, I mowed for 2 hours. I said, I mowed our field and I mowed Mark's field. I said, I got to mow a front yard. I said, it ain't going to look right. I said, I said, you can't even see my lines anymore. I'm thinking about, I've got zoysia in the front yard, but I don't think it's high enough quality because I was thinking about cutting it down, doing 1.5 inches, scalping it, and then getting a real mower and turn it into a golf course out there. I'm contemplating it. I see too many people doing that on Instagram, and so now I think I can do it. But one thing I know for sure is I don't want to pay for a real mower, and I don't want to pay for the sand and upkeep of that and all that. However, I want to do it. You tell me I can go out there and putt on my front yard. Oh my gosh. Anyways, all right. So one of your hobbies that you've had in life has been cards.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite texts your wife has ever sent me was you all were over here and we were having a big conversation about we got into it, not a big conversation. We got to talk about how many cards you still had because you don't have time to do as much with it anymore as you were, because you were big into it for a while. And I said something about how many you had, and she looks at me, she goes, Rhodes doesn't have a room because his office is still full of cards. I was like, what? I was like, how many are you down to? You're like 10, 15,000, something, whatever the number was. And I was like, what, Gab? And that's when Gab said that. I was like, she gets home that night and I just get a picture from her of your cards just everywhere in the room. Dude, I was dying laughing. Oh, also saying that reminded me of the Realize Sent Our Wives a couple weeks ago about, I don't know, something about it, the husband, I got to run and check on a job real quick 6 hours later. We've never had a job that we've done together. And we've done quite a few together at this point in time that has taken the amount of time we thought. And every single one we finished, we've looked at it and gone, we didn't charge enough. We're like, it'll take us an hour. 6 hours later, we finished. It just doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
It's like, you remember the one we did down off Old Hickory, kind of like Deep Bellevue, where we were washing the front of that house, and we're like, oh, this is gonna go quick, and it didn't.
It's like
it didn't come clean.
Yeah,
we're like, it'll take us an hour and a half to do it. Didn't come clean. Had to go rent a ladder to be able to get up to clean it. I have a picture of you standing on the roof of the front porch to clean. Dude,
that was off.
That one was. It's just everything we've done is like that. We're like, guys, it's not gonna take us long. 6 hours later, we finish. Okay, so in trading cards, I need you to give me your top 3 trades you've made in cards.
Top 3?
Yeah, I'll take top 5 too, because I know one that you've made.
All right.
And I'm curious to know if you say that.
I'll give you a top 2.
Okay.
So number 2 would probably be, I'm trying to remember exact cards it was. I think it was like a Mac Jones rookie card. Because like in 21, like Mac Jones rookie cards were through.
Yep.
Like they thought he was next Brady. Yep. All the things.
Because he was still at the Patriots at the time, right?
Yeah. And so it's like Mac Jones, like a couple, Mac Jones and like a couple other, random cards. And I traded it for a Michael Jordan rookie.
Yep.
It was like a BGS 5.
Okay.
Like today is like a $4,000 card. But it's Michael Jordan rookie. Like I've owned one.
Yep.
Don't own it anymore. Wish I did.
Yep.
But so that's probably number 2, and then number 1 is for sure. So I was back home. I was back home for like Thanksgiving or Christmas, one of those. And I went to the card shop I always go to back home and bought a box of cards. It was like a $400 box of cards. It's a normal person, like that's stupid.
Yeah.
And it probably was stupid.
But you were flipping them so much. It's
nothing. Yeah, I mean it was nothing. But anyway, so I bought a box of cards. It was like $400. I started opening it in the store. That's just what I did.
Yep.
Opened them in the store, pulled a Trevor Lawrence 101 rookie.
Yep.
Pulled the rookie. Ended up, and it was, like I said, it was 101. It was a shield, which NFL shield is a shield that's on the jersey. So it's like the shield. So I pulled it and ended up, I traded that card into another Trevor Lawrence rookie card.
Okay.
It was a 101. And what was it? And maybe I don't know if it was a Mac Jones rookie or what. Anyways, it was another Trevor Lawrence 101. And like 101s, like in the card space, it was like, they're all they're 101s like from different products. And for whatever reason, the guy wanted to trade me. So I literally flew to Washington, D.C. to make this trade.
No way.
I flew out from B&A, went to Washington, D.C. that morning, met him in the terminal. We made the trade, jumped back on the plane.
No way. I haven't heard that story.
Yeah. And then, so I had those two. And then the Trevor Lawrence 101 that I got, ended up trading that into a Rolex.
Yep.
So
I did know that.
Yeah.
Dude, that's so
It was
crazy.
Yeah.
I wondered if you were going to say that story or not. What's the best card you have right now?
Right now, the best card I have right now is not a sports card. It's so I've got a first edition Charizard.
Yep. I knew it was gonna be something Pokemon. Dude, they're so big right now.
I know. They're massive.
I've got a buddy.
You still have those that I graded for you?
Yep.
I think it was 1 or 2.
Yep.
Maybe Blastoise. But yeah, I mean, Pokemon's huge. Sports cards are big too.
They might. Yeah, I feel like sports cards have tapered a little bit.
Yeah, they cooled off for sure. I mean, there's like the market's still huge. The Pokemon market's just insane.
So I've got a buddy who I think he's actually going to come down and do an episode with me. He's a buddy of mine from high school, went to a different high school than I did. But he just opened, I've told you about him, he opened, his name's Cody, opened up a card shop up in Marietta, dude. Freaking cranking, dude, in Marietta, Ohio. We need it. That's what we need. We need to take a road trip one weekend and take Saint and Roman with us. We'll just do our 2 oldest boys and 2 of us and go up there. It's not a bad drive. But go up there and see, dude, his shop's sick.
Oh, I bet.
Dude, he just did a big card show in Kansas City last weekend, I think, where he told me he was going. Dude, they're doing a ton. He's freaking crushing right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Which who would have ever thought that like card shops were like around when we were kids, but they weren't like who would have thought that it would become, because it's almost in a sense like the new sneaker market a little bit. It's a little more like
absolutely.
It's
a lot of the sneakerheads
sustainable than
moved into Pokemon and sports cards, just for the flipping aspect.
Yep. That's gonna be one of our side quests that we do is taking a trip up there.
I'm down. But yeah, the card market's absolutely insane.
If only Bama and Ohio State were playing this year, we would just do it all in one.
Yeah.
They're not playing until next year. Until Bama decides to drop it.
Y'all will drop it before we do.
I don't think
so. You can't have too many good teams on your schedule at a time.
Dude, we go to Texas, week 1 this year?
Yeah, that's good.
And Oregon.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Do you want to bring that up before we finish? Go ahead, bring it up.
I'm bringing it up.
Last time you were on, we finished. You looked at me, and go, next time. He's like, when we film a solo episode, I got to know how you're a Duke fan and an Ohio State fan, because it's bullshit.
That's valid. Valid question.
You want to know the origin story of how I'm a Duke fan? I told you the origin story.
Yeah.
And I'm a family. Like, I'm an Ohio State fan because of family. I'm not a Duke fan because of family. If I was a fan of anything because of family, it'd be UNC, and I'm not. My dad claims it was when I was 5.
Weird.
I'm on a bad run as a sports fan, though. Aside from Ohio State's national championship last year, which was a great run. Real happy we won, but we still lost to Michigan that year. So, okay, this is a serious question. If Bama won the Natty, but lost to Auburn, would you still be pissed you lost to Auburn at the end of the year, even though you won the Natty?
100%.
Yep, exactly. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to trade beating Michigan.
And that's happened before.
Yeah. I'm not going to trade beating Michigan for winning a Natty.
No.
I'd rather win the Natty than beat Michigan.
All day.
But nothing is worse as a sports fan than losing to your rival, because then they just think that they're just like, when they, especially like Michigan, as like, it's like Carolina fans talking crap in basketball now. It's like, you've done nothing in 5 years.
Yeah.
But you know what every Carolina fan, if you say anything about basketball, says? Well, we ended Coach K's career. It's like, okay, dude. And let me guess, you also won a national championship in 1951 when it didn't count.
Yeah, this might be a hot take, but it's hard to trust Duke and North Carolina fans, basketball only fans, not only fans.
Only fans?
Mm-hmm.
I did not think that we were going to bring up only fans in this episode, but so be it.
Well,
that's fair. Like, most people don't trust me, so that's fine. I don't trust people either. So.
Oh no, I just think like the broad consensus. Like, obviously,
yeah.
But like,
because most Duke fans are also Cowboys fans and Yankees fans.
Right. That's the thing. It's like most Duke and UNC fans.
Yep.
Chances are.
Yep.
They just chase whatever that next.
Yeah.
Like they were Warriors fans 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Now they're Knicks
OKC fans.
They're Knicks.
Oh, they're Knicks fans in that right now. Yeah.
So it's
dude. Have I ever told you I saw Steph Curry play in college?
Really?
His sophomore, the year that they made that run to the Elite Eight. Dad and I went and saw. So like I didn't know anything about him.
Mm-hmm.
Dad knew who he was because Dad knew who Del Curry was. He grew up watching Del Curry in the league, and I think he probably watched him play Virginia Tech as well. And Dad told me about him before that seat, like before we went, because they had played Carolina a couple weeks before that in the Bobcats arena or wherever. He's like, "But this kid is a stud," and I'm like, "Okay." Like I think I was in 7th or 8th grade, so I'm like, "Oh, sick, whatever." Like I love hoops and play, but like I watch Duke,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember they were playing in Charlotte, and whatever the arena was, Spectrum Arena or something, Time Warner, I think is what it was at the time. And it was early in the game. Steph was playing with like a broken thumb on his left hand, had played in a full cast. And there was like 2 seconds on the shot clock. And he rises up from like 6 feet behind the NBA line. Somebody clobbers him, drains a 3 with like 2 seconds on the shot clock. And I looked at my dad and I was like, oh, he's like that. And then, of course, that was the year that he goes on and, they beat Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
They, should have had a chance to beat Wisconsin to go to the Final Four to play Kansas. Or not, no, they beat Wisconsin. Had a chance to beat Kansas to go to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Dude, he was. So, like, ever since then, it's like I was.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, that kid. I mean, he's not a kid now, but, like, watching him as that young. And that was before he was, like, people knew who he was, but, like, that was before he was, like,
him
on the stage.
Yeah.
That like he was after that tournament run, and you're just like, oh my God, he's different. It's crazy, dude. I can't wait for football season. I was just thinking about that earlier. I love summer, but dude, I love football season.
Yeah. Give me football season all day. Best time of the year.
Dude, I was thinking about this. We were talking about going to the beach this fall. You and I were just talking about it yesterday. If we go, when we go, September's going to be great because football season started. We have to leave, but we need to make sure the NFL started, and we're going down on a Friday, so that we have all day Saturday to watch college football in the pool.
I'm down.
And then all day NFL in the pool.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
dude. That's gonna be. I was just thinking about that this evening. We're gonna do that because that's gonna be. I remember a couple years ago when we went to the beach. It would have been the year of COVID, and so they played the British Open. But I remember like being at the beach watching being up at like 6 a.m. watching the British Open on that Sunday morning. That was, dude, that was sick. Oh man, you got anything else you want to add? Anything else you want to give me crap about?
No,
not yet. Maybe next time.
Go all night.
We could. Yeah, there's a lot. Where do you want to start? Let number 20 or 2000. Man, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming on, dude.
Yeah, appreciate you having. Absolutely, it was a blast.
Thank you so much for watching another week, another episode of Deepish. I really enjoyed getting to sit down with one of my closest friends, Colton Mosley, and just talk about our lives. And, I always set out every episode, no matter who is on, what the subject matter isn't necessarily, but I always want to give a picture of who people are, some of how they've become who they are, and as well as, talk about what they're doing currently in life. And I feel like this was a fun one with Colton and really enjoyed. I mean, this was pretty much a mellowed out version of most of our normal conversations that we have on a daily basis. So if, I always like to promote anybody that's on and what they're doing. So if you're in the Nashville area and you need anything with your house, whatever you might need, whether it's landscaping needs, whatever, go to deltapropertysol.com and reach out to Colton and his team, and they would love to help make your house look brand new, look fresh. But again, so grateful to have one of my closest friends on and get to sit and talk with him for a little while, and hope you all enjoyed it as well. And as always, please make sure to follow us on all social media channels, Deep.ish Podcast on Instagram, TikTok. Find us on Facebook, Deepish Podcast. And make sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. I said like and subscribe. Make sure to like the episodes and then subscribe to us on YouTube so you never miss an episode. And then follow us, subscribe, whatever you do on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and share with a friend. Leave us a review so that you don't miss a single episode. And we will see you back next week for our next episode.